This weekend's weather setup looks wild. We've got a major storm system gearing up to slam into the United States, and it's going to bring everything: snow, wind, freezing temps, the whole winter package. We're talking about the potential for that first real snowfall of the season across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and even parts of the Northeast. And on top of that, we've got some of the coldest air we've seen in over 6 months getting ready to dive deep into the country. Yeah, it's that serious. Let me break this all down for you, because the next 7 days are going to flip the weather pattern upside down. Right now, things are pretty quiet. We've got a low pressure system sliding out of New England that kicked up some gusty winds, a few showers, and even a possible tornado last night in Massachusetts. But overall, the East Coast's calming down. The Southern Plains and Gulf Coast, totally peaceful for now. Classic early November calm before the storm. But if we look west, yeah, things are starting to stir. Cloud cover's building up across the northern plains, and over on the west coast, California's about to get hit with a Pineapple Express setup. That means moisture streaming straight in off the Pacific. Expect heavy rain down low, and some fresh mountain snow piling up in those higher elevations over the next couple of days. And then, things flip. By the time we roll into the weekend, everything east of the Rockies is about to change. I'm talking temperatures, I'm talking snowfall potential. The whole pattern turns on its head. Here's what's going on in the upper atmosphere. Right now, our jet stream is pretty calm, zonal as we call it, basically straight west to east flow. But watch what happens by late week. We start to see a big dip forming out of Canada. That's the first shot of cold air diving south into the Midwest and Northeast. Nothing too crazy yet, just a teaser. But once we hit the weekend, that's when things get real. By the way, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. We're expecting a major storm system to form across the northern plains Friday, sliding through the Midwest and into the Ohio Valley Saturday, into Sunday. And with that system, snow. Possibly the first snow of the season for a lot of people watching. Now this next part is impressive. We've got one of the largest jet stream dips we've seen since last winter. A deep trough slamming into the US, pulling brutal cold air all the way from Canada down to the Gulf Coast. You can literally see the contrast. Low pressure dominating the Midwest, high pressure baking the Southwest, and that massive trough funneling Arctic air straight south. By Sunday and Monday, brace yourselves. We're talking highs dropping into the teens and 20s up north. And even parts of the deep south feeling like it's January. Seriously, wind chills could make it feel like the low 30s around Houston, and possibly 40s and 30s in central and northern Florida. That's how far this cold reaches. Now check this out. The temperature anomalies next week are nuts. Everything turns purple and pink on the map, meaning temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average, stretching from the Dakotas, down through Texas and east into the Carolinas. This will easily be the coldest stretch we've seen in half a year. And it's coming fast. And it's not just the cold. We could be looking at some serious snow chances too. The models are hinting at multiple storm systems riding that cold front across the Great Lakes through next week. And you know what that means? Lake effect snow. Lots of it. With the lakes still ice-free and warm, the setup's perfect for a few rounds of heavy snow bands setting up from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. So, let's talk specifics. Mid to late week, a weak clipper system might spark some light snow across the upper Midwest. But, as we get into Saturday and Sunday, that's when the real system forms. A low-pressure center diving from Wyoming into Iowa, then stretching into Missouri and the Ohio Valley. On the north and west side of that system, boom, the snow zone. We're watching places like South Dakota, Iowa, northern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio for accumulating snowfall potential by late weekend. Now, depending on which forecast model you look at, things vary quite a bit. The GFS model. It's pretty aggressive, showing a broad swath of snow from North Dakota through the Great Lakes, with 1 to maybe 6 inches possible in spots like northern Indiana and southern Michigan. The European model. Not so bold. It keeps things a bit warmer and limits the snow to mainly the Great Lakes region, where lake effect could dump a few inches, especially south of Lake Erie. So yeah, there's still some uncertainty here. It's not a done deal yet. But one thing's for sure. The pattern is changing. Winter is starting to show its hand. And get this, Some models even have below freezing temperatures reaching all the way down into central Texas and Mississippi on Monday morning. You might wake up and see frost on the grass in places that haven't felt that kind of chill since March. And when you combine that kind of cold with the moisture streaming in from the Pacific and the Gulf, you know what happens next: snow. A lot of it. I'm talking about an early, widespread snow season that could begin as soon as the first week of November and just keep rolling straight through March. Let's start with the Midwest and Great Lakes, because honestly, that's where the bullseye looks to be forming. Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Detroit. You guys are in for a classic old-school winter. We could be looking at 60 to 75 inches of snow in Minneapolis, which is well above average. Chicago might hit 55 to 65 inches by the end of February, and even Detroit could see totals pushing 50 inches. And the lake effect snow? Oh, it's going to be relentless. The western shores of Michigan, the snow belts of Ohio, and upstate New York. This could be one of those years where Buffalo gets pounded over and over again. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of those lake effect zones hit 100 inches or more before we're done. It's that kind of setup. Now shifting a bit south, the Ohio Valley and interior Northeast, this is where the snow could start to show up earlier than usual. Cincinnati, Columbus, Pittsburgh, maybe even Louisville. Don't be shocked if you see flakes flying by early November. By mid-December, it's going to feel like deep winter. Totals here will probably range from 25 to 45 inches for most, but the further north you go, the heavier it gets. Pittsburgh could flirt with 50 inches, and parts of West Virginia might hit 60. Over in the Northeast, things are going to get wild. Boston, Albany, Hartford, Syracuse. This could be your snowiest winter in several years. Boston, you're likely looking at 55 to 65 inches, maybe more if those coastal lows track just right. New York City should end up around 30 to 40 inches, well above last year's totals. Philadelphia, probably around 25 to 35 inches. And for northern New England, we're talking serious numbers. Burlington and Bangor could each end up with 80 to 90 inches. And the mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire could break 100. This is a cold, snowy setup for the entire Northeast corridor. Now, let's swing out west. Because the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest, you guys are in for a monster snow season too. I'm seeing signs of a very active jet stream slamming into the west coast all winter long. That means storm after storm, and each one is going to reload the mountain snowpack. Seattle and Portland might get more snow than usual this year. Maybe a few solid events that stick. The Cascades could easily see over 400 inches. In the Rockies, places like Denver, Salt Lake City, and Bozeman are all set for strong totals. Denver could hit 70 inches. Salt Lake around 80, and the high mountain ski resorts could end up with 300 to 500 inches before March. And if you think it ends there, think again. The Southern Plains are going to be part of this story too. Dallas, Oklahoma City, even parts of Arkansas and northern Mississippi. You're going to feel winter this year. I'm expecting several rounds of ice and snow from December into February. Dallas could see 3 to 6 inches total. OKC maybe 10 to 15, and Kansas City could push 30. It's going to be one of those winters where the cold doesn't just stay up north. It spills all the way down into Texas and the deep south. And speaking of the south, even areas that rarely see snow, like Birmingham, Atlanta, and Nashville, might get in on the action this year. Nashville could easily pick up 8 to 12 inches total, which is double the norm. Atlanta might see a coating or two. Maybe even a legit 2 to 4 inch event at some point in January. And yes, I'm watching for one of those Gulf storms that tries to ride up the coast and deliver snow to places that almost never see it. Out east, the Mid-Atlantic will be fascinating to watch. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Richmond. These areas could have a surprisingly wintry season. D.C. could see 20 inches or more. Baltimore around 25, and Richmond possibly around 10 to 15. Not epic numbers, but much higher than we've seen in recent years. Alright, if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, leave your region or city in the comments. I'll answer them individually as I have time. Commenting is completely free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.